This video is going to be talking about how you do the BRRRR strategy. And I know this is probably all over the internet, but I thought maybe I could make a video and describe it in simple terms and use a house that I'm actually currently selling as an example. I've actually held this house for 3 years, but this was a BRRRR property. That stands for buy, rehab, or renovate, rent, refinance, repeat. So essentially what the deal is you find a house that is distressed. Most of the time it almost always has to be distressed because that's how you find the deal. And you find a house that's distressed, you purchase that home with a line of credit, you can purchase that home with a private money lender, a hard money lender. You can even purchase that home with a bank in some cases where they actually do an after repair value type loan on the property. But the best way to do it, I have found, is to actually have someone lend you the money to purchase that house and don't finance with the bank at first. So this is the kitchen, and originally this had a whole wall here, and I took out that wall. And of course in these old houses, a lot of times you will find brick that has been covered up. This had been plastered over and I had to chip it out. And it adds a little bit of character to the home. So I tried to open this kitchen up as much as possible. And we basically just redid it, as best we could. Put in solid hardwood cabinets, didn't put any cheap Lowe's laminate type cabinets in. It already had the vinyl windows installed, and we had to redo some of the hardwood floors. Something else that happens a lot of times on these older properties is you will actually find that there's gaps in the hardwood flooring going into the trim on the floor. And that is because these old houses used to have plaster, and the plaster is much thicker. So a lot of times when you take down the plaster and you redo the walls with drywall, you're gonna have a huge gap there with the hardwood flooring. And so you've got to get in there and actually have the hardwood floor people repair that. And in this case, they actually missed a spot. As you can see here, there's a gap, my finger's going in there, because we didn't repair it, which that's one of the most expensive parts of redoing hardwood flooring or having it refinished is the repairs. They always nickel and dime you on the repairs, and it's actually tedious. They got to cut into it and splice in new pieces. It can get expensive. So for this particular house, I purchased it with a line of credit for $50,000. And I'm going to use this house because it actually is the real numbers, to give you a good idea of how this actually breaks down. So I purchased this house in 2018 for $50,000 from a friend of mine. And I used a line of credit. I also used a line of credit to renovate this house. This house cost another $50,000 to renovate and needed some exterior siding. The inside needed to be fairly updated. I opened some spaces and I had to redo the kitchen, but I tried to do it as minimal and as cheap as possible because I wanted to keep this thing as a rental. So I purchased it for $50,000. I put another $50,000 into it, and I'm all in at $100,000. Redid the bathroom, redid the kitchen, redid the hardwood floors, and paint it, put up some trim, put a deck on the back, call it a day. Then I took this property, I took the property to the bank. I said, hey, will you finance this loan? I already own it free and clear because whenever you borrow money, you purchase a house, your name is already on the deed. The bank looks at that and they say, okay, yeah, we can refinance this house. We're gonna send out an appraiser. So they send out an appraiser to look at the property. And this is why it's beneficial to actually forego the bank at first, because you want the appraiser to see what it looks like after it's renovated. When banks do these after repair value type loans, they're kind of just, not giving it the full potential value that it possibly could have when they see it and it's already renovated. So they're gonna calculate as what if, you're gonna give them a list of all these things that you're gonna do, and I don't think you always get the full potential value whenever you do it like that. So the bank sends out an appraiser, they appraise the property, and in this particular case, this property, I think it appraised at maybe $140,000, $150,000. And now remember, I only have $100,000 of my own cash into this deal. My line of credit was at a 4.5% interest rate, so the money was extremely cheap. I didn't have a lot of holding costs on this. And so I basically refinanced $100,000 and paid off my line of credit. And I ended up with this house for free. One of the other nifty things here is these old houses always have a very awkward space because they always have basements, and it takes away a lot of the space in the house. And if I had the money at the time, or I was a more seasoned investor, I would have actually opened this up and turned it into a closet of some sort. See, the washer and dryer are downstairs. I would have just brought them up here and made this a closet for the washer and dryer. So you still have to go down in the basement in this house to access the washer and dryer. But one of the neat things that we did here is my friend suggested doing this. He had put a Murphy door in one of his houses. And so anybody else is unsuspecting. I had this as an Airbnb for a while, and they're always like, where's the washer and dryer? Where's the washer and dryer? And I have to describe it to them. I always have it in the notes, you know, for them to read, and they can figure out where it is, but they never do, of course. So it looks like it's just a pantry, but it is in fact an entrance into the basement. And these Murphy door kits are pretty neat because they make them where they tuck in. You still have a lot of space here. It probably doesn't look like it from the video, and they're actually easy to remove and install. So if I ever had to bring anything down there, I could take this off the hinges pretty easily. Pretty neat. Just try to utilize as much of the space as possible. Just make it as nice as I could. And then when I went to sell it, I wouldn't have to do a whole bunch of renovations to get it on the market. Installed this deck here as well. So essentially, a BRRRR deal is a way for you to accumulate a lot of properties and not have to put a dime of your own money into the deal. And that's why this is so beautiful. And that's why I know a lot of other investor friends have actually grown their portfolio by hundreds of units doing this. Now, of course, 2024 standards with the higher interest rates, it's going to be a lot harder to do this, but it's still possible. You can still find these type of deals, and banks are still doing these kind of loans. Remember, all you need is a hard money lender, a private lender, or a line of credit to purchase these properties up front and the money for the renovation. Then you can take it to a bank. And most of the time, a bank is more than willing to finance a property if it's already got a renter in it, it's already producing cash flow, and it's already renovated. You know, a lot of the risk is already taken off the table when a bank receives a deal like that. So this particular property, over the course of the last, 2018? So over the last 5 years, actually, I'm sorry, I bought this in 2020, so I made a mistake there. So I've only owned this for 3.5, 4 years. So over the course of the last 3 years, this property's been cash flowing me anywhere from $300 to $600 a month. You know, when I first started renting this property out, I was only making $300 a month. And then of course, over the last couple of years with rents jumping up after the pandemic, I was cash flowing about $600 a month. Now this property is listed on the market on the MLS for $181,000. And I'm almost certain that I'll get that. It's a good price point. There's a lot of people that can afford $180,000, so it's going to be hopefully sold fairly quickly. Yeah, this video is different than some of my other ones where I'm basically just sitting in front of a camera and, you know, telling you, talking about some of the things that I've learned about real estate investing and the things I think about the economy. I thought this would be kind of neat because it's showing you the real thing. You know, I'm trying to show you and tell you, showing you an example. You know, a lot of these guys on YouTube, some of these real estate gurus, I don't even know if they really have properties, to be honest with you. I don't know how many rentals they have, and you know, and they sit there and they tell you all these things that they're acting like they know from experience, and they may not. So this is actually the real deal here. So this is just a little 2-bed, 1-bath, nothing special, built in 1920s. Still got these super, super small closets. You know, there just wasn't enough space in this house to actually open anything up and put in some bigger closets. This is all of 1,008 square feet. So, and you know, the only other thing is I redid the bathroom. I think, you know, $50,000 in 2018 to fix this house up. And I spent a little bit too much on labor at the time, but it probably would have been the same about now. You know, it was one of my first couple projects, so I probably overspent on labor. And I think right now, it would probably cost about the same, $50,000 or $60,000. You know, a lot of people bitch and complain about prices right now, interest rates. And the thing is, you can always find a deal. There's always a deal to be had. It's just gonna be like looking, you know, a little more like a needle in a haystack. So if you're really motivated like I was when I first started, you're gonna be able to find a deal. You just gotta get out there and you gotta keep looking and keep trying, and you'll come across something. Networking is very, very big. If you keep networking with people, someone sooner or later is gonna call you with a deal and get you started if you haven't started yet. So the course of the last 3 years, I've made about $15,000 in cash flow. The renters have paid down the mortgage. I've used the depreciation from this property, and now I'm going to sell it, and the balance on my mortgage is around $90,000, and I'm gonna make, you know, another $80,000 or so after this house sells. So basically made $95,000, $100,000 for free over the course of the last 3 years. And all it took was the actual effort of me managing this renovation and having the ability to go find the financing, which happened to be a line of credit. And that doesn't mean that that had to be my only option. If I didn't have the line of credit, I would have went to a hard money lender here in town, and I would have, you know, gotten some financing from them. So it's just the effort that you actually have to put into it. You got to put in the effort to find the deal, and then you have to put in the effort to actually renovate the deal and, you know, do the legwork, going to the bank, having the funds, having the reserves there while you're renovating the property in order to pay for all the holding costs, utilities, the taxes, the interest on the loan that you're going to have on the property, whether that be a hard money lender or your line of credit. And so that's how you do a BRRRR deal. And I still think it's one of the best ways to build your wealth. I typically don't do single family homes. I've done probably 2 or 3 flips every year for the past 4 or 5 years. And I usually sell them. This is one of the only properties that I actually held on to because it ended up being such a good deal. But seeing as how the market has changed a little bit, I'm just trying to accumulate some cash and actually, you know, sit on the sidelines and wait for some more opportunities to pop up, because I do think that that is going to happen in the near future. If you got any questions about real estate investing, this video kind of dragged on with me showing you this house here, but drop it in the comments below. I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. Thanks for watching. Till next time.